minutes. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 33 of Horsin Around, right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz, along with host of Bet and Boozin', and let's just say someone who's got a big event going to be happening in September, right over there, Mr. Kyle Rosso. Kyle, how you doing tonight?
I think Emma's paying you or something, but yeah, man, under a month. It's crazy, but welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining the show. And great, good racing last weekend, and it's going to be nowhere close this weekend. That's for sure.
I'll tell you what, this weekend is going to be absolutely spectacular. And I don't have to talk about the W word because all weather reports look unbelievable in the later part of this week for New York. Please, everyone, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button below the video player. What does that do for the YouTube algorithm, Kyle?
It happened the same thing last time. It not only does it help us, does it show us that you guys are supporting or enjoying the content, it also pushes out the video, this podcast, and other podcasts on the channel out into the YouTube algorithm to hopefully bring like-minded horse players like yourself to the HHH Racing Podcast.
You just articulate that better than me. I don't know why. I don't know. You've got a good flow with the old algorithm. There's also a notification bell right up there in the upper right-hand corner. No, not on my picture frame, but if you're on YouTube, please hit the notification bell. One of the main reasons you want to do that, Kyle, I just want to make the announcer right off the start, and thank you everyone for watching and listening. Tomorrow night, we are filming here on Monday night. Tomorrow night, we are moving up our big picks and ponies show. Our big preview show for the Travers, Kyle, is going to be tomorrow night, Tuesday, a little bit different time and day, 8:30 Eastern. One of the reasons we're doing that is one of the best handicappers in the country and an overall fantastic guy, Mr. Nick Tamero, will be back on these airways, Kyle, with myself, Pete, and Paul, going through the all stakes pick 5 Saturday Travers Day. It's going to be spectacular. Everyone should check that out. I know the field's already come out, Kyle, and wow, not only is the late pick 5 or the all stakes pick 5 amazing, I'm not even sure the Travers is actually the best race in that sequence.
No, it's not. It's all grade ones. It's all obviously all stakes. It's mandatory pay. It's unbelievable. I mean, obviously we'll talk about it. You guys will talk about it tomorrow, but I would agree with that last sentiment.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. We got a lot of people in the chat like Katie. We had David Duncan here. Yep. Katie said the weather should be good. Totally agree. It looks that way. But don't tell that to people in Toronto, by the way, who had a just complete disastrous day Saturday. It's such a bummer. Horsey Davis here. Hi from Saratoga. Wow, he's already there, Kyle. And what a great card coming this Saturday. It is sunny as well. Mr. Paul Halloran will be there as well, Kyle, to help us cover the Travers. The other thing I do want to mention, it's not official yet, but look, actually, just coincidentally, look who's in the chat. Chris Walsh. Yep. Speaking of Equinedge, we plan, not official yet, we plan on collaborating with Equinedge on Saturday with some live coverage of the Travers Day card. Now, no gazebo, no live video, but we were going to be here live handicapping. I cannot recommend enough people joining us on the live shows, either with us and or Equinedge. We'll get that information out later in the week. But Chris, thanks for joining the show. Paul Conlon is here as well. Hey, Howard, now that Matt Miller's book has been such a huge success, maybe you can release yours titled Art of the Gallop Out. I like that, Paul. I like that. That's a
might as well take clips from this show just from the first 375 episodes or whatever you're at now, and you can probably make a book about it for sure.
I'll tell you what, Paul, it's an interesting idea. I appreciate that. We also have Chuck Brower here, Giddy Up HHH crew. Last thing before we get into recaps, Kyle, I don't know if you saw, I think it was Steve Levine, who I know you didn't have a chance to meet him. You weren't at Saratoga this year, but we met him at Saratoga. I don't know if you saw in the Axe he posted not only his pick 4 win that he wanted to let everyone know about, but an HHH hat sitting on the picket table right outside, right on the outside the track there at Del Mar on the apron. So congratulations to Steve. That was pretty cool. Nice to see the HHH gear being repped from coast to coast, Kyle.
And capped off by, if you subscribe to the Del Mar Power Picks, capped off by a 12-1 morning line winner from Noah Maher. Speaking of that late pick 4 that he hit, so you guys aren't signed up. You guys are missing out for sure on both Saratoga and Del Mar's side.
Yes, Noah's been crushing. And again, Saratoga Power Picks for just this weekend are available on our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. I'll be writing the Saturday edition. It's going to be a little bit longer and larger than normal to cover that. All right, Kyle, let's get into the recap here of a few races. The first race I want to talk about is going to be the Alabama. And Kyle, you covered this
Yep.
the Bet and Boozing guys on Wednesday night. You did the preview, so I know you're gonna have some strong thoughts. The winner of a very exciting late stretch
Yeah.
in the Alabama was the number 3 Power Squeeze. We can see paid 14.80. I have a little positive history with Power Squeeze. It was one of my better tip outs of the year on the show when Power Squeeze won the Gulfstream Park Oaks, I believe.
Yep.
Let's see, there it is. Yep, at 11-1. I was really happy with that score. But you can see on top of the screen, the PP is she wins the Alabama in thrilling fashion. Before we show the replay and get in details, your general thoughts on the Alabama overall?
Well, I think the consensus was on our show was that we were trying to beat Candied because I figured she was gonna be lower than what she went off at. She only ended up going off at 9-5, which I thought was actually pretty high for what I thought she was gonna go off at. Miss Justify, who's the horse that I actually liked in this race, and Just Basking ended up going off at about the same odds. Actually, Miss Just Basking a little bit lower. So I guess they must have heard Noah Maher's success and started betting her once they knew that he liked her on the show. But the thought was right. Wrong horse for me personally. Power Squeeze was one of those horses that's kind of been bouncing around, hasn't really run that well since that Gulfstream Park. Obviously, she won at Delaware last time with an 83. Seemed a little slow for the group that she was in, but thrilling finish, as you mentioned, and obviously got her nose down at the line. And Candid is the one horse that I think this year is being bet, is one of those horses that's being bet every time. And just really, besides that one in Lady Secret, where granted she was probably just better than all those, but that 99, it kind of sticks out now, Howard, in a way. You know, she's ran like 86s, 89s, and that 199, but she just hasn't really been able to get back to that type of form.
For sure. Let's go ahead. Now, I want to say, just right off the start, I think she was the best. She was my top choice. I was not trying to get real cute in this race. I didn't have a strong opinion or feel of this race, and that could be justified by the fact that I used many in a pick 4 that I was fortunate to hit enough for $2, the late pick 4 at Saratoga, which worked out very well for me personally. Didn't was wrong on some other scores earlier in the day or other tip outs, but I was fortunate to hit the late pick 4. And I used a lot here, Kyle, because even though Candide, I thought, was the best horse, and I think you can still make the argument is the best horse coming out of their race, because she had to deal with some, let's just say, adversity at the top of the stretch that we're going to talk about. Yeah, she has learned to switch leads. She was very talented last year. I actually liked her in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Dirt, and she just had trouble switching leads and just got outrun in that race. But let's go ahead and show, we're not going to show the whole race, but we're going to get to the main part of the race there on the far turn. Power Squeeze obviously wants 2 turns.
Yeah.
She's the 3 here in the race. Candide is the 7. Candide was sitting a comfortable trip. You see Chattelis on the lead. Candide was a little bit further back than I thought, Kyle, but it was a pretty quick pace here, 47. Miss Justify was getting the trip that she wanted, and you're going to see on the far turn a little shenanigans going on with Chattelis that really, I thought, cost Candide the race.
Yeah, and obviously we'll get to that. Miss Justify got off slow, had to be not necessarily hustled, but had to get up there and be coming from a mile. I knew I was done about here, unless she's actually mustered something really good. But right here, I thought Candide was a winner, and the next thing you'll know, right about here, you'll see. I don't know what happened, but Chatala's spooked or something, or she just drifted out and absolutely. I mean, she hammered both those horses next to her. So. And obviously,
yeah, the jock didn't go to the whip,
no.
Kyle. She just veered out. Maybe she's getting tired. I don't know. But how many lengths do you think this costs Candide right there? Because Candide sort of lost her momentum. I mean, it's hard to quantify, but to me, it cost her the race.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the final margin, especially, I mean, checking out all that momentum that she gained on that far turn, that wide sweeping move, And right about there, you'll see. So I mean, all her footing's completely gone and has to get put back into the race. And you'll see Power Squeeze obviously just getting that wide, clean air trip.
Like I said, Candide was professional though. She
Yeah.
had lead switch issues. She really fought on gallantly. It's not like Power Squeeze blew by her. Here's Just Basking doing what Just Basking does, making a nice late run. And boy, that is if
Yeah.
you needed Candide, and I know a lot of people did, that is a tough beat. It's an awesome win for Power Squeeze and Jorge Delgado, who almost a year ago today, Kyle, obviously had the horrible tragedy at Saratoga. So
Yep.
redemption for him to some extent, although it was a different race, of course. Power Squeeze gets a 90. Nice effort. Okay.
Yep.
Candide an 89. This race, Kyle, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow night. This race is another reason why I'm a bit dubious of Torpedo Anna. I know people might say it's apples to oranges. Candide lost pretty soundly to Torpedo Anna by about 3 or 4, getting a perfect trip. I just don't think these 3-year-old fillies are anything special. It's just not a great crop other than the Grizzly Bear. Maybe you can't hold that against the Grizzly Bear, and we'll talk about that tomorrow night. But this is just a mad group in general for me.
Yeah, I think the thing that I like, minus obviously the one that you mentioned, Torpedo Anna, I just feel like this is a very competitive group other than her. And obviously Kenny McPeak's also thinking so, because I mean he could have put her in here. She probably could have been sitting off right off of Shadowless and win by 5 again. And yeah, or obviously minus the shenanigans at the top of the stretch. But I think this is going to be a test for it's going to be a very big test for Torpedo Anna. But above all else, I think, like her, like Leslie's Rose, all these types of fillies are very evenly matched. And then it's kind of like, take a couple steps up the stairs and then you get to Torpedo Anna, at least at this point in the year as we start to close in on Breeders' Cup season.
We've got the Cotillion coming up
Mhm.
in September, which is on the same day as the Pennsylvania Derby, and you're going to see a bunch of these horses in that race for 3-year-olds. And then really you got the Breeders' Cup. I mean, there's other Breeders' Cup prep races, and you're
Right.
going to see some of these horses challenge olders. Do you see any of these horses, excluding Torpedo Anna, do you see any of these horses maybe being able to step up their game, being a factor in the Breeders' Cup distaff against the likes of Randomize and Dare Manor and maybe Idiomatic and some horses we're going to see this weekend at Saratoga?
I mean, like I said, Candide kind of showed it in that one race, especially with the number. And then she's kind of regressed back to that, horse we always thought she was, kind of that high 80s horse, that just 90, where she's good against, these types. But again, when she gets put against, especially against olders, it's not someone that maybe a horse that's going to come from mid pack at Del Mar. Maybe you get a tied friendly day where the closers are playing well. She's going to run up for third, yada, yada, yada. But, not necessarily win end for me, especially going into a race like the Breeders' Cup Distaff.
I'm going to answer my own question. For me, it's absolutely no. I
Yeah.
just don't see it at all. Someone's going to have to really step up their game. Other than Torpedo Anna, I don't like any of these 3-year-old girls, unless someone steps up in a big allowance race or something unusual
Right.
happens that I can't see right now. I don't see it happening. But they are a competitive group, and they're fun betting races other than, of course, Torpedo Anna. So we'll see what happens. Let's get to the Lake Placid. This was the other grade stake on Saturday at Saratoga. The weather cooperated well enough to run a turf race, the Lake Placid. There were 2 actually races this weekend, Kyle, for the 3-year-old girls on
Yep.
turf. One was out west. I just want to give a shout out to You Scream Ice Cream, or Ice Cream You Scream. Sorry, I think
There
it's
it
Ice
is. Yep.
Cream You Scream, for Little Red Feather and Billy Koch, who ran a high 80s buyer and won against a field that I thought was not great, to be very honest. But she is a nice horse, got a high 80s buyer. So Ice Cream You Scream did win. I think it was a grade 1 actually, the Del Mar Oaks, which is completely ridiculous. But don't get me started on the grading of certain races. Chad Brown wins again, and a relatively big upset, I would say here,
Yeah.
with a horse named Grayosh, who paid $17.60. You got Chad in a grade 2
Chet
at a
and
price, and he
Pratt, might I
finished
add.
one. I'm sorry,
I said and Pratt, might I add, at 8-1
and
at
Pratt.
Saratoga.
Well, not only did Chad Brown win, he finished 1-3-4.
Yeah.
I mean, and he didn't have like the whole field this time. I mean, it's just it's unbelievable. what he can do in certain races. She feels pretty. That was my top choice. Again, I wasn't trying to get cute in this race. I will admit that I didn't love Grayash. I just thought she was a bit too slow. Flavien Prat with an
Yes.
absolute masterclass ride. We're going to talk about it right now. Again, Grayash wins 7.8 to 1. Again, the buyer, nothing special. None of these horses are really, exploding with their numbers. She feels pretty, does what she did. I thought she might improve. She did not. Grayash did. Your thoughts on the Lake Placid?
I was in complete agreement with you. I mean, she actually ended up going off at 3 to 4, which is I thought was way lower than. I mean, I thought she was going to be, maybe something to 5, but 3 to 4 is a little crazy. I mean, she got the trip she wanted, but I reaped the spoils of Flavien Prat this meet, and he's now taken to stuffing me in the locker for these past couple. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I was really hoping that he wasn't going to be able to get out there, kind of, as we joke on Ben and Booze and Joel Rosario-esque. But I mean, Johnny V left a hole. She feels pretty, didn't necessarily quicken up that, fast at the top of the stretch, and Flavien Prat was able to squeeze through. I was in your boat. I thought Grayash was a little too slow. Obviously, could make, somewhere in the money with an improve, but she feels pretty, runs fine. I mean, she gets here, and I was really hoping that. I mean, I honestly, my eyes were completely on She Feels Pretty at this point. I wasn't looking anywhere else. I thought she got the trip I thought she would get. She got everything that she wanted going by this 39 to 1 shot, and we're home free. And then it gets a little bit further than this, and I'm like, oh crap.
Well, I'll move it forward in a second. I don't want to take anything away from Chad,
Yeah.
Grayash, and Flavien, but isn't She Feels Pretty supposed to win from here, Kyle?
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't. She did lose a little bit of ground, but sometimes that's not the worst thing. She has the jump here, right? I mean, she is right now. She's ahead, and then she just didn't go on with it, and Flavien muscled her way through. I know right now you knew you were in a real dogfight and probably a little bit of trouble. Here's one of your favorite horses, along with Charlie Freeman of Bet and Booze and Dynamic Pricing. She ran fine. She just didn't really go on with it. And you see the Spaladay, who I know a bunch of people on your show liked. Again, she ran fine, just wasn't quite good enough in the Peter Brand Silks. And I got to tell you, Grayash just won fair and square, Kyle.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to add there. I think I'm going to show the hat on, and we can just see the brilliance of Flavien Prat. I know this is something you might not want to see, but I think it is interesting to show the stretch run here as we're going to bring it up here in just a second. Just how good Flavien is when he found him, if it's going to cycle through. There we go. Let me get to see if we can get to the stretch run. You can just see how good Flavien was here. This is the whole key right there. I mean, it didn't help that the 4 sort of lost a path or two. If the 4 was here, Kyle, where my cursor is, then Grayash might have an issue. Maybe she'd have to duck to the inside. So, I mean, yes, She Feels Pretty lost some ground, but and great job of was it Johnny V or who was on She Feels Pretty? I'm
Johnny
not sure,
V.
but came over and showed her to the gray. But right here, just the Grayash is better, and try to put her in tight a little bit, which that's race riding.
Yep.
I wouldn't say anything nefarious, and Flavien wasn't having any part of it.
No, Pratt doesn't back down from those. I'll tell you that much, and that's why he's one of the best in the business. But yeah, I was all over this race minus Grayash. I had it was actually all over my best bets was 7, 7, 10, 7, 10, 5. It was all over the place, and then like I said, Flavien stuffs me in a locker after he's been rewarding me all meet. That's that's the way it goes. That's racing. But yeah, and like you said, I don't want to take anything away from her by any means. She ran a great race. But you'd think that if She Feels Pretty was the goods like she was last year, you'd think she would be going by.
You know this very well, Kyle. You know horse racing well. You've been around the game for quite a long time now, handicapping, you have some ownership. Sometimes these fillies just don't go on with it, whether it's 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Fillies are very fickle, and it's just very obvious that She Feels Pretty is a very nice turf filly, but Cherie DeVoe, for some reason, has just not been able to get her to improve this year, and people are passing her up. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, it's just And like I said, even though, she ran a good third to Cinderella's Dream, but that's what she's been doing. She's been running, obviously, besides the Hilltop, which was a much easier spot, frankly. She's just been running good thirds, and the high 80s, low 90s is now getting passed up by improving horses like the one you have on the screen right now.
The breeding here, Yoshida out of a Patio Prado mare. This horse is bred to go much longer too.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see. I think the future is very bright for Grayash. I would not be surprised if she continues to improve for Flavian and Chad. I think we're just seeing the beginnings of this horse. She looks like a larger bodied filly. She's trying to grow into her own body here. Of everyone in this race, I mean, I guess this is Captain Obvious, but I really do think Grayash has a big chance to move forward, even more than Dynamic Pricing and a few others here.
Yeah, I mean, the one that's lightly raced, right? Ran on the Wonder again, but didn't necessarily have, the best go at it, and then came back in an optional claimer. But then this race is obviously the one did get a perfect trip, obviously, in this race. Like, it's not like she had tons of trouble in 1x2, but the point's still there that she was gutsy. She got through the hole. When Flavian sent her through, she did it very well. It's just a matter of, Chad does this all the time with these horses that seem to come out of nowhere almost. But it's crazy how it just continues to happen.
Grayash is going to be. I'll one more comment. Then we're going to do
good.
a little quick preview of the Travers. This is an early look at the Travers. We're going to talk extensively about the Travers tomorrow with Pete, Paul, and Nick Tamaro. Grayash is going to be a tough call for me in her next race for two reasons. She's improving and she's going to get better, but as you so delicately said, she did get a perfect trip. So what do you do with a horse that looks like should improve and get better, but is also coming off a perfect trip? I know it's going to be circumstantial, who she's facing, the post, the pace scenario, but for me, I know I can already tell that's going to be a little bit dicey proposition on how much I'm going to like her in her next start.
Always, you have ace king, Howard, and you pop a pair of kings, and next thing you know, someone's swooping you over the top with the set underneath you or something. So it's definitely a tricky scenario. Obviously, as you said, very circumstantial, but look, a very nice looks to improve filly, and like you said, it looks like she can run all day long. So we'll see where Chad puts her in the next start. And obviously, the biggest thing will be, if we talk about jockey Drew Ness all the time, Pratt stays, that could be one big sign for her that, Pratt believes in her and believes that she can improve.
Tom, come on now, Tom. That's pretty harsh. I'll tell you what though, Kyle, people can give me shit all they want. I've had many, many successes in cash play and tournaments, reverse keying, tries horses second and third. I have no shame in saying that I'm cashing on some trifectas. I did with Lock and Key again this weekend on our Power Picks, which was a $94 try for 50 cents. I had it a bunch of times and gave it out in the Power Picks. Look, I'm wrong all the time as well, but I don't see anything wrong, Kyle, with trying, the art of trying to find a horse at, I don't know, 8, 10, 15 to 1 to finish second or third. To me, is just as valuable as trying to find a horse that's going to win, depending on how you play, if you're vertical, horizontal, whatever. There's a lot of ways to win money in this game.
Oh, of course. And that's why it's the best gambling game in the world, Howard. No matter which way you play, there's many different ways. I mean, many different horses you can play, all that type of stuff. And we can all still find a way to make money. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I know people are just having some fun there in the chat, but I do find it very enjoyable to find horses that people don't like or don't think that can do well. And look, if you finish second by 8, you're still finishing second. I don't care if you finish second by an inch or second by whatever. It means the same thing on the tote board. There you go. Patrick knows it very well. It also helps when you love a horse and bet a lot of money and then it doesn't go out of the gate, but it does get refunded for because the horse was held on by a starter or something, and you got a non-starter, as Patrick Kunzel knows very well.
Yeah,
that worked out also. Blue Plate Special, I think, was the horse that we liked a little bit late on Sunday. Look, let's end this conversation, Kyle, with one of the biggest races of the year. Andy Sterling made a funny point this weekend on air. He said, why is it called the Midsummer Derby when it's like a week before September? I actually got to agree with him on that, but it's semantics. I don't know. The Travers, we're going to talk about the Travers a lot tomorrow, so I don't want to get into great detail, but here it is. Here's the field for the 2024 Travers this Saturday. I believe it's 6:10 Eastern time,
Yes,
assuming
correct.
everything
Yep.
goes well, Kyle. We'll show the odds here in just a minute. A field of 8, you got Torpedo, Sierra, Unmatched Wisdom, which is another Chad, Corporate Power, I think that's Sugar if I recall, Batten Down, Honor Marie, Dornock, and Fierceness. I mean, wow. Okay, it's not like a giant field of 10,
Nope.
11, 12. I don't care. All I want is quality when I have grade ones. This is as high quality as you're going to get, including a very exciting entrant on the rail, Kyle. Your first thoughts when you saw the field?
Look, like you said, it's not a field of 13, but if all the, 90% of the horses you wanted to show up have shown up in this race, Fierceness, Dornock, Sierra Leone, horses that have been together the entire way through the Triple Crown season, now making it all to the Summer Derby. Obviously, knock on wood, everything continues to go well throughout the week. And with the addition of Torpedo Anna, I mean, even Anna Marie brings it back into this race after running in the Belmont and the Derby. I know which was one of those that was high on the reverse tri-key list for a lot of people. So that's the type of it's a great race, and I think David Aragona. The one thing I did want to mention is I think David Aragona is pretty spot on. I mean, he's got 4 horses within. I do.
I want to talk about that. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I mean, 5-2 to 7-2. I think a lot of people are going to bet Torpedo Anna. I really do. I think she'll probably be 4th choice, 4-1. I honestly think so. I think then it'll be Sierra Leone, Dornock, and Fierceness between 2-1 and 3-1. I think is what it's going to be.
Okay, can you repeat that again? The 4 main contenders, the order in which you think they're going to be favored.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. Let's see. I think it's going to be Dornock, Fierceness, Sierra Leone, Torpedo Anna.
So you think Dornock's going to be favored?
I do.
Is that what you just said? And then you said Fierceness, Sierra. So you think Torpedo's going to be 4th choice?
Yes.
Wow.
I do.
Okay. I couldn't disagree with you more. I think she should be. I think she should be 4th choice.
That's fair. Yes, that's fair.
But it's going to be a fun conversation tomorrow. The first thing when I saw this field is wow. I mean, we want great fields. This is a great field. We got Nathan Woodward, by the way. Looking forward to tomorrow's show for the Travers Breakdown. Again, if you're joining us a little bit late, I want to make this announcement one more time, Kyle.
Yep.
And let's just go full screen here for a second. Myself, Pete, and Paul, and one of the best handicappers in the country who covers New York racing like a glove. He wears many hats, morning lines, track announcer. Nick Tamara will be live right here for the full hour, Kyle, tomorrow night. Tuesday night, we're going to start a little bit later, 8:30 Eastern. Again, Tuesday night, 8:30 Eastern, will be the 4 of us breaking down the all stakes grade 1 pick 5 on Saturday at Saratoga. You do not want to miss that. The reason why we're going earlier, by the way, in the week, 2 reasons. 1, it works out well for Nick's schedule. And 2, we want to give people more of a chance to watch the video, in a few extra days. I mean, the fields are out. They came out Sunday night, so why not was my thought. Here's the order, I think. And I'd love to hear people in the chat real quick. We'll talk about this a lot more tomorrow. I believe in this particular order will be the post-time odds. I think Fiercest will be favored. Okay. It's because of the Pletcher, Rapoli, and he just won big and he had so much buzz early in the spring. I think second choice will be Torpedo Anna, because she's such a great following and she's really good and it's the story and blah, blah, blah. I think Dornock's going to be 3rd choice. I think Sierra Leone's going to be 4th choice. And if Sierra Leone is 4th choice at, let's just say, 4-1, I mean, he can't be that low. I mean, just by simple math. And Nick Tamaro is going to be a great guy to have on the show tomorrow, Kyle, because he creates morning lines. And as a mathematician, I know how they're created. I mean, if Fierceness is going to be, I'm going to say 5-2. I don't think anyone's going to be 2-1. I think it's going to be 5-2, like 3-1, 3-1, 7-2, 4-1. I mean, it can't be that low. Nothing could be that high. I already texted this to Paul Halloran, Kyle. Sierra Leone is one of the toughest public handicapping choice I'm going to have in my history of this podcast, because if I pick Sierra Leone, he doesn't win again, that might maybe look sort of stupid. But I've said all along, Kyle, he's going to win a monster race sometime this year. I mean, he already won grade ones early in the year with the Bluegrass, but it sort of sets up for Sierra Leone, doesn't it? I mean, with the speed in the race, I hate to say it, but it sort of does, doesn't it?
Look, man, I couldn't agree with those sentiments more. Every time I keep looking back at it, I'm like, dude, if I pick this horse right now and he's gonna lose again by like another half length,
there's no way Mark's Sierra Leone's favorite.
No, I don't think so.
People are sick of this horse, right? He does the same thing. He never gets there, right, Kyle? And all the negativity. Meanwhile, he just keeps running huge races and barely losing and getting a little bit of weird setups. You can't doubt the early speed in this race. Unless something really bizarre happens, there's going to be early speed. They might not be going like 46 like crazy, but it's going to be honest. And I am for sure, I'd be shocked if going into the far turn, these guys are not hooking it up at some point, slash ladies, at least someone.
Correct. I agree. I mean, just looking at it, you got 1, 2, 3. I mean, you got 4 horses immediately just looking at it like that you recognize they're going to want the lead. That Torpedo Anna, Unmatched Wisdom, Batten Down, and Fierceness. I mean, and Dornock's obviously right there too. So just looking at it immediately, obviously you guys will cover it tomorrow, but it's a very interesting puzzle that could end up biting us in the ass one more time, Howard. And I might be on that hill with you, but I got to keep looking at it until I make my final decision.
Let me just ask you one question. We'll break it down a lot more tomorrow night. And I know we're not going to show the PPs. We're going to get, but you know these horses.
Yeah.
Can Torpedo Anna win this race stalking? I mean, what would you do? You've got, Dornock's going.
Yeah.
Dornock is absolutely going. Fierceness, in theory, is just going to sit right off Dornock, right? In theory. Unmatched Wisdom is not slow also. I mean, I'm going to ask everyone on the panel tomorrow night, if you're a Torpedo Anna fan like Patrick Kunzel and many others, and you actually think she could win this race, what is the best way that she wins realistically? You can't say she's going to go to lead Kyle and walk the dog. That shit ain't happening.
No.
What's the most realistic best case scenario for Torpedo Anna to actually win this race in your opinion?
I mean, granted, not necessarily a 1-to-1 comparison because she was outside, I believe, in the fantasy, but do you want that type of fantasy trip? She sits back, a length and a half, 2 lengths, and she gets jumps on Sierra Leone and others that are going to be coming from farther behind her. If you're a Torpedo Anna fan, most likely you just got to hope that they go, like you said, like 47 flat, 47-1, tie her out, and she gets the jump on a horse like Sierra Leone. I think that's her best chance to be able to win, especially from the rail in a race like this where there's a ton of speed in front of her. Plus, by the greatest angle in all of horse racing right now, the every other Fierceness can't be this time, surely, right?
I'll tell you, Rapoli is super duper confident, but he's always been confident in this horse, and it's Rapoli. So, I want to touch on what Paul Collins said, and then we're going to wrap up the show here in a minute. I put this out on X, and I got a few, respectful but negative comments like, Howard, what's wrong with the rail? Nothing in theory, but I don't. It's a weird scenario, Kyle, because I think if she gets the lead in guns, that's actually her worst case scenario, because then she's going to be breathed upon the entire race. And I'll talk more tomorrow. But because she has the rail, I think she's going to have to sit a little bit. And I'm not sure that's her best case scenario to win, I guess is what I'm going to say without getting to specifics. I think her best case scenario, what she does best, is just going to the lead and putting everyone away. I don't see that happening from the rail. That's my main thought there with the rail.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't disagree with by any means. And David Duncan's obviously in agreement with me. She sits third on the rail all the way around and see what she has turning for home. Granted, I mean, she's ran, a mile and an eighth very well. And you can even argue that we really haven't even seen, her top stuff. Every time it seems like she runs these races, she's wrapped up by the 16th pole.
Well, that's what Mark said. Has she been holding back? Like, is there more in the tank? We don't know.
Yeah.
Kenny McPeak is acting like the Grizzly Bears got more. But doesn't she have to have more in the tank to win this race too, though? Like, has to have more.
Yeah, she has, like I said, obviously she ran a 99 in the Acorn, wrapped up by the 16th pole, but she's going to have, if she wants to have a true winning fashion in this race is going to be one with a low 100 buyer. It's probably going to be one with a 103, 104, 102, somewhere around that.
Yep.
So she's going to have to show that she has more. And obviously McPeak and all the connections, they all have a ton of confidence in her. So, but I think she's going to have to win it from just stalking off the pace. And the good old harness pocket trip, I think, is going to be her best case scenario.
I think Noah Maher's, too busy counting his money and too excited about what's going on at Del Mar to, make reasonable, judgmental comments about the Travers, because now we love Noah. He wouldn't be shocked if Fiercest was 8. I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if Fiercest is 8-5. Maybe Noah's going to empty the tank in his bank account or something. Maybe the rumor has that the Mahers have some new real estate going on. Maybe they're going to put that. Maybe they're going to put that on the market and put it on Fierceness. But seriously, I would be completely shocked if
just math wise, right, Howard? All these 4 horses are going to be very close to each other, right? In theory. So
I think so. And they all can't be 8. I mean, again, right. It is a math thing. That's well said. We'll see. Wow.
Jim, come on, man.
Oh boy.
Come on,
put
man.
that one up.
I don't even know. Jim's
I'll just let it go.
I love it, dude. Jim's going after it.
All right, we'll put it on. Jim Pilares. Hopefully no man enough at Del Mar to find a real barber. Ouch.
Oh boy. Jim is still going. See, you got the whole chat going now.
Oh boy. Hey, Jim and Noah, take it outside, my friends. Take it outside. Take it somewhere else. Anyway, we love those guys.
There's actually a new comment in here, Howard. I think we end with this one real quick.
Go ahead.
Like I said, we don't have to talk in detail about it, but Charles, I haven't seen this name before, Charles Lockhart.
Hey, what's up, Charles? Thanks for joining the show, man.
He says Dornock's advantage is a high cruising speed. Luis Saez can dictate the pace with the lead or stalking, so someone will have to beat him to the top. So, and in theory, right, you have unmatched wisdom. You have all these other horses that might be able to beat him to the top. But every time it seems, we doubt Dornock's early speed or we doubt him just sitting off, he seems to continue to stuff us. So at obviously 17-1 in the Belmont, but, also, 7-2 in the Haskell as well. So it's just a great betting. It's a fantastic race to cap off what looks to be on paper a great day. It's another great day at Saratoga.
I'm going to end our conversation tonight with one question. Is someone that is a horse running in the Travers going to win the Breeders' Cup Classic?
Oh boy. I think if obviously circumstantial, but if that again sounds so stupid, if he finally gets over the hump, Howard, at least in the money, at least in the money, I think.
No. All right, there's no hedging here. There's no hedging.
Hey,
here.
Come on.
Well, let's exclude Torpedo. I think
right.
Torpedo's going to go to the distaff. I would assume.
I would say no then in that regard.
But you still think Sierra is interesting in not only tomorrow, but maybe in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Is that right?
I withhold my statement until after Saturday.
I'm going to say no. Based on what I've seen and heard, the Japanese are coming.
Oh yeah,
guns a-blazing into the Breeders' Cup Classic. I know we got months to talk about it. That's one. That's not the only one.
Yeah.
I mean, Ushba's coming. There's another horse that's doing very well right now in Asia. I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of fun, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But we got bigger fish to fry, of course, this Saturday for Travers Day. Again, we really appreciate everyone joining us tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 8:30 Eastern. Myself, Pete Paul, and Nick Tamro are going to go through the all Grade 1 stakes pick 5 at Saratoga. Kyle, tell everyone what's happening on Wednesday night, and we'll put up some banners and wrap it up.
Sounds great. Yeah, because obviously they're going to be covering Tuesday night, which means we have the final show of the weekend, at least for now. Obviously, Saturday can change that with Equine Edge and the live show for the Travers. But as in terms of preview shows, we have a spot that we don't normally have, being the last on the card, and we're going to cover Charlestown. It's not a track that's obviously very much covered a lot, but they have 4 $500,000+ stakes races. Big fields, minimum of 9, if all the way up to 12. It's a fantastic card. Like I said, over $500,000 and 4. The Charlestown Classic is for $1 million. You have Ben Doog, Skippy Longstocking. You have Irad, Jose. They're all coming over, and it's on Friday, so they're doing it the day before the Travers, so you can go parlay betting and boozing into picks and ponies or Charlestown into Saratoga. But it should be a fantastic card on Friday, and look forward to covering that on Wednesday for a track, that doesn't normally get too much coverage, which is something we love to do on the podcast.
And there's a horse that's cross-entered from the Jerkins. How about Bookham Dano, who won almost didn't win in Dubai, right? He's got his heart broken, by Forever Young. Bookham Dano's cross-entered, might actually go to Charlestown, I heard, instead of the Jerkins. I'd like to see him in the Jerkins, because the Jerkins is, with or without Bookham Dano, the Jerkins is the best race on the card Saturday. The HL Jerkins for 3-year-old 7 furlongs is a complete war. World record, speak easy, domestic product, Prince of Monaco, Timberlake finally cutting back like I wanted.
Yep.
Reynolds Channel, Jefferson Street, Bookham Dano, if he goes, oh my goodness, is the Jerkins a race. But yeah, watch Wednesday night. And the card, by the way, Charlestown is Friday night, Kyle.
Yep.
So you can build that bankroll for Saturday Travers Day, right?
Nope, that's exactly what I said. Yeah, you got to parlay the betting and boozing into the picks and ponies Friday and Saturday. So, like I said, that's Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, just like every normal show, obviously tomorrow is 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. As making with Nick's schedule and all that, and you guys get a little bit extra to cover there. And so we're back at 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, and hope to see everyone there.
Awesome, thanks a lot for my co-host tonight, but host of Bet and Booze, and you can check them out Wednesday night, Kyle Roscoe. This has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 33 of Horsin Around. Check out all of our shows. Please look into the Power Picks. Again, information below the video player. You can go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, for this monster week of racing. Crush your bets wherever you play this week. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.